Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at Felix Schultz. Yes, I'm playing a game that I wanted to play in the alternative German destroyer at tier 9. I was frustrated by the line. It doesn't get a lot of play, probably the least played DD line in the game, especially after the Pan-Asian got buffed. And I just want to try and make it more fun to play, more successful. One of the nice things of being a CC is I do get a lot of the respec costs removed out of the equation, so I can try different builds, and one small change, like literally one skill adjustment, could change the entire identity of the ship and the line and the play because they are so impactful. So that's what I was exploring in this game, and I think the exploration was pretty good. So as we're approaching friendly aircraft carrier, this is awesome and convenient for us, actually spots the enemy DD. And note I've got AP loaded. I have AP loaded because it's German, 150, and I also invested in the 2-point that extended the damage even further with the AP shell. The HE shell just doesn't do a lot of damage and should only be used against a target that is giving you literally 0% armor that you can pin, which is pretty rare because you can always fire at the superstructure, and generally speaking, there's some flat surface that you can hit. So we do actually pretty decent damage on that DD, nearly 10,000. And this is one of the things that I like about this line. It's a pseudo-light cruiser. Obviously, it doesn't have a citadel, so one thing that's nice about DDs is they can be very chippy. Chip damage is the name of the game with these guys, and because you don't have a citadel, you can't be punished as hard as a cruiser for looking for chip damage. So honestly, that's kind of what I envision this line to be, is the chip damage specialist. Anytime a target is broadside and they are at, near max range, which obviously I've invested in the range skill. I do have the rate of fire module, but having that kind of range really opens up the possibilities to farm damage in a safe manner and be spotted. So it's a unique trait of this line. Obviously, you wouldn't just stay in open water if people are actually firing on you, but if a token ship is firing on you, yeah, it's not a big deal. So we sent our slow torpedoes down a high traffic lane. Don't wait on trying to aim at a target because they move so slow that it's in fact impossible to reliably hit them. It just is. And instead, you should just go for the volume rather than accuracy. That is a far cry from these guns, though. These guns are 100% all in on accuracy. And the Izumo is still pushing forward. He's the only tier 9 battleship on this flank. Note the Drake in the background. He's going to be annoying. But Izumo in the area, and we're loading our shells up, trying our best to hit his upper hull armor. If you hit the upper hull armor, you can damage all 4 sections and always have excess damage to do. Obviously, if you played the game long enough, you know this, but if you're new to the game, each ship is broken up in sections, their hit points. So in order to maximize the potential damage per shot, you want to fire on a section of the ship that has taken less damage than its maximum in that section. When that section takes maximum damage, it lowers the potential shell damage per shell because there's not as much hit points that you can potentially do damage to. So it's very important that you're hunting for fresh sections of enemy ships. And the Germans are, really good at sort of encouraging this. Top of the hull AP, unless you're at like point blank or the target happens to be close enough that you can punch right through to the guns, which of course we're not going to be able to do against Izumo. So we do the next best thing. We're aiming at the top of the hull and we're making it a challenge for him. Friendlies are adding in some fire damage, which is nice. But, we just placed ourselves in a position where only a couple ships could actually punish us, one of them being the Izumo, and he has no interest in doing that because it's a hard shot. Obviously, that goes away as players get better. Obviously, you will have to be more actively engaged with it, but in a random battle, the line itself works pretty good, and I honestly love this build so far. So, the build is Incoming Fire Alert, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Gun Range, no Concealment, no Radiolocation. We get the Rate of Fire skill, Adrenaline Rush skill, Superintendent skill, and to round it out, that 2-point AP skill. It extends the damage per AP shell. It doesn't really have a downside. It's a 2-point skill. Really, the only downside is you have to choose it along with other skills. So, you know, you have to obviously synergize to the strengths of the ship, and AP is its strength, so you should try an AP as frequently as you can. And even in this situation, if I can locate my shells on the superstructure, it's just as good as firing some HE. So yeah, we're doing pretty good against the Izmo, up to 81,000 damage. I think he's fired at us one time, torpedoes as well, and it's just not looking good for him. We're trying to finish him off. Top of the hull, friendly's got high explosive in the air, and we miss out on a kill on the Izmo, but we still have potential targets in the area. And, you know, I was like, you know, this is pretty good. Obviously, going all in on damage, it's going to feel very rewarding to do that, and that's definitely the name of the game in this one. But, you know, it's really awesome because we did so much damage to that enemy DD that he has to play incredibly cautious. He can't go out on the outside and potentially be spotted by air because he'll die. Because we were able to really damage in the early game, this has led us to being more dominant in the mid game. And oh crap, speaking of domination, New Orleans is moving forward with AP. He does pretty decent damage, honestly, given the fact that he landed shots. We, not so much. He's doing a much better job of angling, and torpedoes are actually coming contact. So we know that these are fast torpedoes. They're low damage torpedoes. I decide to just take the damage. Can't really avoid it at that point. And that, of course, is from the enemy DD that we damaged out. The slow torpedoes have forced the New Orleans to continue to retreat because he has no other option. And all we have to do is locate our shells on the superstructure. We can actually kill him from this angle with AP. Very precise gunfire. And I decide to use another charge of my smoke, continuously locating, maybe need a little bit more leading there, but continuously locating near his superstructure in an attempt to knock him out. And oh, he's under 1,500 damage. Oh, we hit another one. I think we led him just too far forward, and we don't have actually a target shot. And the chancy shot that we sent out just wasn't going to land. Meanwhile, Nagato shows up. So it's really just continuously firing in a strong position and using that gun accuracy at range to really punish it. Oh, please have gun range. Only one of our 3 gun turrets actually can fire over the island. We just need 1 or 2 APs. One more shell on him should be enough. Doesn't matter if it's over pin or super, and we do take him out. Nice. Friendlies are still keeping these guys back, and of course that pesky DD, he still has angle on us, and he's clearly moved deep inside our territory, but it worked out perfectly for us. He never actually had the right angle to punish us, and this Nagato is at point-blank range. We have very easy location to hit this superstructure / top of the hull, and we just need to land one more nice big one in the midship, and I think he'll be good to go. Yeah, there's nothing you can do, and you're just presenting so much side that very easy to just DPS through that, especially with this build. I would say that more than anything keeps them honest, because prior to it, I was more of a intelligence information, and wait, we got Drake's trying to rush across. I'm looking for a citadel, aiming at the waterline, hoping that it dips. Didn't dip low enough, and the Drake will actually hide on the other side of the island, and not as much damage as I wish I could have gotten, but I think I did enough to make the Drake consider other, avenues of approach. He's got to consider me as a potential threat from the side, hopefully. Meanwhile, as the enemy DD shows back up, and he's actually recovered as much health as I think he actually can. Remember, he's a pan-European, so he has a heal, but that's all he got, so he was way under, like, 2k. But we're just slowly missing these shells as he's moving up, and the shells will track as he's attempting to potentially take out a friendly battleship, which I don't want. I just locate my AP shells good enough that we land one shell on him and we take him out, which is nice. One thing that you can't take away from this line is the gun accuracy at range. Yeah, you don't have a lot of gun penetration or potentially scary high explosive, but the gun accuracy at range is really respectable, and for someone like me who has worked really hard on making my gunfire, tip-top as far as I'm concerned with dynamic crosshair and just understanding the matchup, the game, everything, the line is very rewarding in this build. And in fact, I think that this is probably what it always needed to be, is just all in on potential AP, refire, and just trust that because you have such good shell accuracy, even if you have to locate it on the superstructure, you can. And that's better than potentially loading high explosive when they are coming at you, because the high explosive just the saddest amount of damage. I have to expect it has to get better. Of course it gets better. Load AP. So we are taking back a point. It was a really fun defense on this side, I have to say. I, of course, love that this build has worked out so well. And, we don't have the best concealment, because I didn't take the concealment skill for the commander, and that is something that you have to give up in order to get this build. But honestly, I don't really feel like the way this line plays out, that's that big of a deal. You've got French, you've got Italians, they've got way worse concealment, even with a fully concealed build, and they make it work. So as long as I take some of that knowledge that I've built up over probably the last 4 or 5 years of playing the lines without smoke and horrible concealment, you can apply it here, and it honestly works out very nicely. So enemy aircraft carrier, of course, harassing the hell out of us. Whatever. I'm just going to sail towards you and kill you with my guns. Those evil 150mm cannons. But he deserves it with his aircraft carrier squadron sending whatever this camo is supposed to be. I think this camo is from the space, or maybe it's from, yeah, I think it's from one of the space game mode. Anyway, we're taking him out, we're getting high caliber, we've got great potential damage, and of course he's not spotted, which the friendly aircraft carrier put down a aircraft outside of his AA range, but inside of his air detection. But regardless, we have to decide, do we want to get out of the smoke or not? I was hoping that the enemy aircraft carrier would use his squadron up, potentially change targets, and then I would bail, but he never actually does, and he goes in and tries to AP, but of course he doesn't hit anything because he can't tell where we are, as long as we don't fire our gun. So he obviously did his thing, and he shows back up. So we're just going to abandon the smoke and go as far south as fast as we can. And I just want this guy dead. I mean sunk. I want him sunk, not dead. I want him to suffer torture as an aircraft carrier. But, he didn't do too much. Honestly, this game really went very well. I think that, it works well. Obviously, we didn't give as much detection as maybe other potential DDs would give, but that's not what we're good at. What we're good at is sort of being detection, but also focusing more on the pinpoint accuracy and punishing players that don't respect you with angle. And as long as you can find people that'll do that, spoiler alert, literally every random battle there's someone who won't, it's going to go pretty good for you. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I think that this line is potentially more fun and more useful than it has been, but I think that because of the nature of it, it does rely on Understanding how you can transition once a player recognizes how to counter you with angled armor. And if you can hit the superstructure, that angle doesn't really matter, but of course that comes with time. So we did great, 4 kills, 2,500 base XP, 188,000 damage done. Really happy with the build. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed seeing this ship actually succeed at something, please like the video. You can also subscribe to my channel. We stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you and have a wonderful day, and my North American recruit invite is on the screen as well. Take care and see you guys.